These are the Division 3 finals, and then 4 finals. Then Mix 90, Mix 90, Mix 90. There's Mixy Boy. There we go.
All right, and then I put them into the YouTube systems folder. And while I still remember, I'm gonna I'm gonna change my pin code. I was gonna do it an hour ago and I forgot.
escaped I use. They card me at the movie, still got the look. Maybe we'll live forever if we don't grow up. Life in the movies ain't got nothing on us. We'll go back to Sylvia and Talkington. I wouldn't let you forget it, not a moment of it. Yeah! Oh, how I wish we could stay. Oh, how I wish I could change. Progress is so far away. Yeah. Somewhere in my head I live another life. We cut loose to Austin, had the time of our lives. We're gonna meet some girls down in Tokyo. Play Gears of War, grow up, and then rule the world. Hey! Oh, how I wish we could stay. Oh, how I wish I could change. Progress is so far away. Yeah. Our lives are well underway. Our minds they start to decay. Real life is so far away. Yeah. Do you feel the change around the bend? We're all caught in the rain. I'm gonna stay the same. You know I hated change. They won't take it away. Oh, how I wish we could stay. Oh, how I wish I could change. Progress is so far away. Yeah. Our lives are well underway. Our minds they start to decay. Real life seems so far away. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some more WARNO as we go into not just any WARNO, but another final. This time coming in from the Division 4 part of the league. So if we have a look here, we have Suping versus Tonnoman, aka the... Oh no, it's actually the Stealth versus Tonnoman. Oh no, it's the It isn't the finals yet. It's the semifinals. Then we had... Forgot that we had the finals.
Whoops.
Oopsie. The finals still have to be played. It's the semifinals. Okay, we have Suping versus Tonnoman nonetheless. And we're gonna go into the third place match of Division 1 later. Yep, the Division 4 finals still have to be played. Okay, so yeah, Suping versus Tonnoman here. Left side bringing in the Panzer Grenadiers here. Suping with 2nd Panzergren, 4th Modschützen on Tonnoman's side, so this should be quite interesting.
Yeah, so of course the 2nd Panzer Grenadier is the mechanized Fallschirmjäger infused infantry formation from the West Germans versus the lighter yet still reasonably mechanized 4th Motorschützen Division from the East Germans. The 4th Moto has more helicopters, it's got, I think, generally better infantry, and the Fallschirmjägers, of course, have the special forces trait, because East Germans are just better than West Germans. Am I right, Protoss?
Yeah, obviously. No, it's more because East Germany had less population, and their special forces, their Fallschirmjägers only were enough guys for a brigade, and they got special forces training, whilst the Fallschirmjägers on the West German side, they were quite a lot. They had quite a couple, but they were not special forces in their service, so that's how they ended up here. With no special forces training, because they have their extra special forces on top of this, whilst the Fallschirmjäger for the East German is the best that you got. And they're pretty good though. Yep, they will be better at fighting in infantry versus infantry fights, but the West Germans get a couple more. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see these two motorized divisions, one with a lot of cheap stuff, the other one with some heavy equipment at the end, fighting each other here. And who do you think has the advantage when it comes to these decks?
I mean, if this game goes for a long, I think the 2nd Panzer Grenadiers' advantage with heavy tanks is just going to be obvious. The amount of Leopard 2s isn't massive, but it's absolutely enough to fight the East German tanks, the hyper-modernized T-55s, head-to-head. Both of these divisions have also pretty strong anti-air as well as air forces. But I think the Tornadoes on the West German side, especially with the area of effect Mehrstückwaffe, will be able to very quickly remove clumps of infantry from the towns. So even though these are both quite infantry spammy divisions, and when it comes to this map, the urban areas are, of course, lead to concentrations in infantry. The second just has a little bit extra here to deal with those. On the other hand, the second doesn't have anywhere near as good multi-launching rocket artillery as the 4th Motorschützen. The 4th Motorschützen has the heavier grads, and second players generally don't even get the Lars, because the Lars is doesn't do enough damage to warrant its price, in my opinion. But I think if this and if you're looking at the deployment speeds when it comes to Oscar, the southern town here, Tonnoman's East German troops are gonna get in there a bit earlier, even though they are taking a pretty careful and conservative deployment right at the edge of the town. I'd say that the generally on this map you see in the league we have seen a decisive battle go around between Lima and Zulu, whereas Oscar has been relegated to whoever has the better and faster deployed infantry. But in this case, as both of these divisions rely on the fast deployed infantry, we're likely going to see the first 5 minutes see a bunch of deployments of infantry removal forces such as anti-air. We're not seeing a lot of air defense coming, only a single Strela and a couple of manpads, which likely means that both of these players have invested in some amount of aircraft. And if these aircraft can, if the East Germans win the air fights, I think the East Germans can keep on sending the armored but very cheap helicopters, the Mi-24Ds, to get some kills. But when it comes to air fights, especially considering we're in Division 4, anything can happen. Air control isn't immediately the most simple thing to do. It requires a lot of paying attention, as aircraft in this game tend to go on their own ways if you don't control them aggressively enough. But I would say that in the early game, if the East Germans manage to get air superiority, they do have early game advantage, with the potential to bring in helicopters and the stronger infantry.
Yeah, on the other side here, we have Suping coming in with quite a couple of Jaguars, Fallschirmjägers, and then behind that Jaguars, some CVs. Marder in the top. But yeah, it seems like there should be still points open. And if a second Pentagon gets the air superiority here, they can use the Mehrzweckwaffe, for example, to delete whole building blocks of infantry out of the game, and that can be really dangerous for a division that relies on its quite strong infantry as much as 4th Modschützen. So those West German divisions, if they get air superiority, they can be really, really dangerous as well. A lot of good air support there. The helicopters of theirs, not as dangerous, but not to underestimate still, because the Hot 2 missile can still one-shot a lot of things here in this matchup.
Yeah, I think when you're playing second Panzergrenadier, especially if you're a lower level player listening to this, you can't get bogged down into forever buying infantry, even though your infantry tab can actually support that. The large squads, they're affordable, they're fast deployed, they're large squads, but with second, you need to realize that to transition into a mechanized mid game, you have to step back and start buying leopards and marders and even luxus and gepards behind your early infantry assaults. If Tonnoman manages to get into urban positions and Suping follows up by trying to challenge these infantry assaults with their own infantry without getting the heavier stuff on board, I think that's going to be a loss for second Panzer Grenadier. It's not as important for fourth moto because fourth moto cannot rely on the tanks as well. The tanks, the T-55s, are very slow. They're best used as support units for the infantry. Whereas with second Panzer Grenadier, the tanks are the crucial weapon, the core of the battle group than of the West German blob. We're seeing two aircraft, both a Tornado F3, excellent fighter aircraft coming from Suping, with a Harrier HE2, one of these super heavy bomb load for a very cheap bomber. And not
4
seeing
500 kilogram bombs. Where they hit, there's only a crater left afterwards. They can even one-shot heavy tanks with that. Meanwhile, in the north, the first infantry fights have broken out. Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer there, trying to push forward. SPG-9's a bit out of position. The infantry behind that coming in a bit late. So the Fallschirmjägers of Suping, if they can get into the buildings, could really do some damage there. South, both deploy a bit more conservatively, so no action there just yet. Harrier HE now coming in to try to get some kill. It drops on the wrong Fallschirmjägers. That's not the one that they should have hit. Still a lot of death there. 2 Fallschirmjägers still remaining on Tonnoman's side. And one of the Fallschirmjäger of Suping there not engaging. So the Fallschirmjäger special forces here of Tonnoman actually might win this, as they also get supported by a BMP-1 from the south. But the trade will still be somewhat equal there. Really a miss there by Suping, leaving one of those 8 hit points Fallschirmjägers completely out of it. Otherwise that fight would have looked a good bit different with way quicker stun there down onto the enemy side. Meanwhile, in the south we have the fight now as well, and this one is a hot one too. Both having a couple of units in building, a couple one outside of them. Obviously being outside lets them really vulnerable in comparison. So yeah, a lot of depth there as well. With currently, I feel like Tonnoman having the slight advantage here in these fights.
Yeah, Tonnoman up north, Tonnoman could have actually won this significantly better, but there were a bunch of mismicros of letting the troops drive too close to the Panzerfaust trees. The Fallschirmjägers of the West Germans do have one of the best AT weapons, a very fast-firing, fast-aiming Panzerfaust 3, and but even then, Tonnoman managed to micro in the end and beat the West Germans. And on the other side, we're seeing the Fallschirmsperrentaucher, the combat swimmers with the satchel chargers and the force flag rate, moving in and eliminating those Fallschirmjäger Aufklärers and the rest of it. And so far, Tonnoman beating this pretty convincingly. Even a bunch of these infantry squads are left on 1 health, which means that the Fallschirmjägers can be revived and brought back to speed. The Tornado doesn't really have anything to fight, and thus it is empty points that haven't been used. And Suping deploying troops to up north in defensive positions and down south, trying to still hold a piece of the town so that the town can be entered and doesn't have to be sieged.
Jaguar 1 here. under fire does survive for now. But one missile only on these two, and I'm surprised that we see the Jaguar 1, but actually with 22 penetration, it's still enough to one-shot a lot of things. So yeah, it might be a good idea here instead of the Jaguar 2, which is a good bit more expensive, has the better missile, especially when it comes to accuracy as well. The TOW 2 is superior to the Hot 1 there by a good bit. But yeah, the Jaguar 1 a good bit cheaper, so cost-saving measures there might be the reason why. Meanwhile, Fallschirmjägers of Tonnoman slowly pushing forward in the north. Panzermörser trying to help out against it. Fallschirmjägers and Sicherungs coming in the south as well. But there is a blocking detachment there from Tonnoman already, who is setting up to try to capture that area. Currently still has to recapture their rear zone. 200 points behind already because of that. But in a solid spot. On the other hand, though, Pioneers and Fallschirmjägers going down in the north as Suping catches a couple of them. So the trades might be equalized again.
Yeah, Tonnoman didn't really exploit the slight advantage that he had up north and only sending the single squad there to, and the single squad, despite being in a very good position, was actually eliminated by Suping's martyrs. And down south, we're seeing Suping move into sort of a siege position, trying to take. There are two entry points: the northwest and the southwest. And if you have potential to threaten both of those, getting into the town is way more likely. And the Leopard 2, a zero-vet Leopard 2, brought by Suping mostly to do fire support up north, I imagine. But positive is that the tanks are already on board. At least a tank is already on board 5 minutes in. But the negative side is that there aren't really all of these units seem to be deployed defensively, and Tonnoman, especially as Tonnoman gets the Oscar point for themselves, there's going to be a plus two tick. So Suping doesn't really have maybe a couple of minutes before the points equalize, and at that point probably should start attacking before the East Germans fortify this.
Yeah, we see another ATGM flying in here. Ooh, getting a nice kill there on the Unimog. And yeah, Tonno now on a +1 already. Starting to get the take up. That is pretty helpful here. So yeah, Suping will have to find a way of breaching either of the zones. Which one do you think Suping should be focusing right now? Trying to get that in Oscar or getting into Zulu?
I'd say Oscar. Oscar is more difficult to defend. It's a wider front, and Oscar allows for more fire support units to participate in the fight. Going in through both of the entrances on the northwest and the southwest. Currently, only the northwest is being defended. The southwest is open. Just driving in some pioneers there and supporting them with Martyr Milans and Pavans could absolutely start a town fight in which the wide front of West German vehicles can support the fight. Whereas if the attack happens up north, there's a smaller front and it's less difficult to get in all the tanks on board without them getting targeted by the fagots.
Yeah, still no real artillery on either side. We have the Leo 2A3 trying to give fire support up north. It's not that great at that job. It doesn't have a 50 cal or anything like that. Only one MG3. And obviously the main L44 gun, which does decent damage, but it isn't as great as, for example, an Abrams or T80 at doing that job. We see the double Lars coming up north now, so it seems like the focus is more north here. So I guess they could be firing on the south as well, and they have enough range to fire everyone on the map. But double Lars coming in as the rocket launcher here, so we will see what they can do. Whilst Suping not really pulling the trigger anywhere, and that is a risky thing because that allows Tonno to entrench deeper here. And Tonno coming with some strong defensive units here. A couple of Rapiras coming up to the front line, a helicopter coming in, Fallschirmjäger Medis all moving in as well, and that is going to be tough to break.
Yeah, looking at the way that the East Germans are defending these towns, I can understand why the rocket artillery is the rocket artillery has a very target-rich environment here, and something needs to break through these resolute and special forces troops. But on the other hand, and actually they're going down south, they actually might be going in, and the Larses are likely going to be attacking Oscar from what it looks like. But so far Susping's forces don't really seem fit for actual assaults. They seem to be wanting to fight at a long to medium range, because of course on close range the East German infantry is just generally better. Something we neglected to mention earlier is that the East German infantry weapons are actually better, because they are modern 5.45 calibers instead of the obsolete West German 7.62 calibers. I believe the 7.62 rifles do about 85% of the real DPS that the modern infantry weapons do. So that's just another little bonus for the East German DDR NVA.
Yeah, double Lars here setting up and get into position to get some shots out here now against the ATGM, against the Fallschirmjäger Einsatztruppe. The ATGM still firing away, might get another transport there. Panzer Grenadiers getting eliminated in the north, as fights in general still a rather big stalemate. Leo 2A3 coming in to engage. Lars now firing into here as well. But yeah, rockets not the most amazing damage wise. We'll see what they can do here. Also relatively slow firing. That's the Leo 2A3. Gets on the kill. One unit going down. SPG-9 going down to the Leo 2A3 here from the side as well. EO helicopter gets shut down in retaliation. And yeah, a bit of damage. One unit killed here. Lars needing to reload. Their reload is relatively cheap, though you still need a good bit to keep them firing. And
no, they actually didn't reload. They only fired 1/3 of their salvos, so now they're retargeting to a different position, which is a smart way to use. You don't want to spend all of your rockets in single enemy infantry unit, especially if you can see that you already got a kill.
Yeah, the Fallschirmjäger is now under fire. Leo 2 trying to help out as well. In the north, we have a push here from Tonno with some ARM-70s and some MiG-23 cluster coming around there as well. One Leo 2A3 actually went down to that MiG-23 cluster, and that's a big kill. That's the first really big kill in this game, and that's frustrating here for Suping. You don't get that many Leo 2A3s, and they're also really expensive, so you don't want to lose them like this. Harrier HE coming in here. We have a coup on the battlefield though, and that will one-shot a 8-hit point Harrier if it can find the hit, so that helicopter, that plane has to be really careful. MiG-29 coming around now as well. Harrier at least dodges the first missile. MiG-29 falling back as the Harrier still wants to try to make this run here on these Fallschirmjägers. We'll have to be really careful with all the AA around. Bombs do land, bombs do get the kill, but Coop will be able to fire most likely in a second. Missile coming in. Missile does miss, and the Harrier will make it out alive, so decent fight there, but still a lot of action to come in here.
I think Tonnoman, if Tonnoman is smart, Tonnoman might have realized something, that the only air defense here is, or was, the Tornado. Now that the Tornado has been wounded, there's basically nothing on the West German side that can realistically stop a 2 or 3 airplanes doing a bombing run at the West Germans. There are Gepards, there are single Fliegerfausts, but there are no Eihawks. There is no heavy air defense. And if Tonnoman realizes this, any attack from Suping can be countered with a couple of bombers, which will immediately put Suping's attacks into a bad position. And the Eihawks are so cheap and so efficient that it's kind of surprising that Suping hasn't invested in them. But I guess the investment in the Tornado was supposed to match for this.
Leo 2A3 moving forward, Mada 1A3 coming in. We have Marauders really setting up here, but yeah, as you said, the air dominance of 4th could be used here to stop this. It might not even be necessary though, but yeah, the Lars doing a decent amount of damage here, doing a decent amount of stress as well. And we have now the trigger being pulled in the south. Martyrs, M113, Recons, Gepards, and a lot of Sicherungs and other infantry units pushing forward here. Sicherungs nowadays not really that cost efficient anymore. 45 points, no MGs, no AT weapon. I'm really not a big fan of them, and also no veterancy. I would recommend switching over to Jaegers if you want to have a good infantry unit with a lot of hit points. The Sicherungs really don't feel like they're worth it anymore. I think they should go down in price at some point again. As we see the Martyr and the Leo 23 still engaging here.
The Leopard 2 driving into the RPG range, going into the town before infantry manages to get there is a big loss. Now the Leopard, even though it didn't take that much damage, it's stressed out, so its rate of fire and accuracy has been lowered significantly. And because this is an unvetted tank, it's going to take quite a bit of time for the cohesion to regain.
Yeah, Martyr 183 versus Fallschirmjägers hitting here.
But yeah, these engagements from Suping aren't really perfectly managed. There's an artillery has been bought and another Harrier to bombard and potentially help in attacking the town at Oscar, but unless these and here we have a MiG-23 cluster coming in with the very little air defense coming in on the West German side. Here we have, and the Gepard even been taken down by the Seed. All of the planes coming in relatively unharmed, and a Leopard 2 getting destroyed. And even the fighter realizing that there is no anti-air there. I think this immediately IHawk and Gepard does get bought by Suping, but
yeah,
this,
but it took a lot of wind out of the sail of this push. This push here now is kind of stranded. It needed that Leopard. It kind of needed even that Gepard as a fire support unit. Instead, the infantry gets picked out of in the open now by the infantry of Tonno, and yeah, the Lars try their best. They push it back a bit, but there is more and more infantry coming in here. The +2 is still for real, and yeah, this was a big loss there. The 2 double cluster around here on the Leopard 2 was really big, and this is a tough position to be in here now for Suping. It will be really tough to recover from this, especially as still more ATGMs firing here against Martyrs. This is looking quite tough here.
Yeah, the Suping waited around 15 minutes, or 15 minutes in the game was when the when Suping started their attack, and the attack has so far consisted of basically only 0 vet infantry with Martyr fire support, which is not bad, but also not good enough because the Fagots can immediately disable these Martyrs. Leopard 2 showing side armor here. And even behind the defense in depth in the form of the Rapiras means that whenever the push is starting to get closer, new far long range AT weapons can zero in on the West German armor, which armor wise can't deal with the Rapiras and can't really deal with the Fagots either.
Yeah, Leo 1A1A1 coming up. We have IHawks moving around. I feel like a couple of Leo 1A1s could have been really helpful as fire support early on. They do a decent job there, but that's not what they were brought in here for. Martyr 1A3 rolling around, Panzer Grenadiers and Jäger Aufklärers sitting in there as well. MiG-29 coming in. IHawk gets a hit. Gepard might help out finishing it. IHawk does that job now as well. We have a seed plane coming in though. It gets the IHawk. It gets the Gepard. Ooh, this is tough. The BN bomber coming around as well. We see ARM-70 counterfire now, getting the CV unit as well, and the trades are just not going well here for Suping. He's not getting nothing. There are a good couple of kills as well, but it's the 4th Modschützen. They don't have anything valuable. Like it's so frustrating to play against them because everything that you kill is so replaceable, and they have everything, but it's all cheap. The cheap version. It's the ordered on wish version of everything.
Well, I mean, it's not the ordered on wish version. It's the grandpa's good quality, older generation units. You know, it's the stuff is not bad. It's just nowhere near as good as modern equipment. But if you use them well enough, that, like you said, stuff like the Lars could maybe counter special forces concentration, something like 11E French airborne maybe. But when it comes to killing stuff like Pioneer Flams and easily replaceable Fallschirmjäger and Motorschützen squads is just not worth it. They're not even conquerors around here. They're just fagots. These are extremely replaceable and cost efficient units. The attack from Suping so far has gathered so many losses, and only now the infantry has been going in one at a time, giving time for both the East German aircraft to refuel and rearm, and also for Tonnoman to put reinforcements into new, better positions. The uh, the attack should have happened properly, or it shouldn't have happened at all, because right now this sort of skirmishing up the front here has only brought Tonnoman like more and more tick, more and more points. And once again, a cluster plane coming down there with no serious anti-air doesn't drop its bombs.
HE bomber trying to come around. Lars trying to come in here onto Tonnoman's Pioneers. Let's see if that can be efficient. Ooh, seed plane coming around once more. Tornado at least getting one kill here. Can it find a second one? Tornado firing its missiles off, but it runs into a brick wall there, or rather a big explosive flying brick there of the Coop. Coop getting a kill here onto that Tornado. And as we see up top in the north, the bombers did their job. A lot of blue units dying there once more. The whole infantry push has been stopped. We see a lot of burning here going on as well, thanks to the Pioneer Flams with their LPO 50 flamethrowers. And this is basically stopped by now.
Yeah, all the reinforcements are trickling in one by one, and they are generally zero vet units, whether it be the Leopards or the Siegerungs or the Panzer Grenadiers. None of these units on their own can deal with attacking fortified positions, and the support is just not powerful enough to compensate for this. They don't have the numbers, they don't have the control, and even though the Lars has been doing solid damage slowly, the Lars is just simply not enough. The 155 millimeter howitzer is potentially could do some damage. It's actually currently looking to counter battery the East German artillery, but even then, the reinforcements of Tonnoman can keep this up, and Tonnoman is happy fighting exactly this battle. This +2 is where inside a town fight is exactly what Tonnoman and Fourth Mortal wants here. And I think Suping really needs to start making some big moves here. Needs to start organizing the tanks into a blob. Has to maybe reposition troops from the north, even just tanks, to start attacking this flank.
Yeah, but the thing with blobs is you want to take out valuable stuff here. And like with a blob, you usually want to strike into the enemy's heart, take out some valuable stuff, and then move on. And there's just nothing worth plopping against here, even if Suping would be able to plop. Like, that's just the fourth. It just is annoying constantly. It has things that you have to take serious, but nothing of it really hurts the enemy if you kill it. So you have to go into a grind match, and that grind match already seems to be somewhat lost here. Like, it will be so hard for Suping to come back here, and I'm not even sure how at this point. Like, there are still units here for Suping everywhere across the map, but it just feels like there's so much more here for Red.
Yeah, allowing Tonnoman to fortify the town so heavily, and to buy all the air defense and all the aircraft, while not really having a plan on how to engage the town. If this had been if the game had gone in a way where Suping never sent in the Fallschirmjägers at the start, but let Tonnoman conquer the town for free, and then a couple of minutes in pushing in with the Fallschirmjägers supported by the Leopards and the Marders, that could be one thing. In that case, the trickling in couple of infantry troops at the time could work, But there's just too much stuff here, and all of the stuff is replaceable, and all of the stuff is deployed very fast.
Yeah, SPW 70 here under fire by the Martyr, gets killed, but the Pioneer Flam come out beforehand. We see a good bit more infantry here being brought forward now on the blue side, but good counter battery here from Tonno, has the Arm 70 set up for anything that comes in with hold fire there, so that if any enemy units come in, he can immediately lose some rockets onto the town again with this big rocket launcher. And up north, there's no maneuvering either. A bit of artillery fire onto a T-55 AM2, but even that one didn't quite go down. M109 will now try to use smoke to allow the infantry to cross, but it will be so tough to cross this. There's a good amount of fire support here. It might be doable, but it will really not be easy here for Suping in the north.
Yeah, Protoss, look at where the RM70 is targeting.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, yeah, it
The entrance
is.
of the
Those who
town.
don't know about the return fire trick, it's possible to keep the aim ready by pressing return fire, and then by removing the return fire, the salvo will start immediately after the
Yeah,
aiming.
if you want to know more about it, check out my top 10 tips for beginners video that I made last week. I explain tricks like that in there on the YouTube channel. Yeah,
But
it's super helpful. Now the
that
Arm 70 is let loose on to the tanks instead, but that's a good target as well. The Leo 1A1s need to get out of there. They will be combat inefficient, or maybe even just dead quite quickly here. As Ligafels drives in as well. We have the big push in the north. There is a decent amount of blue forces here, but there is also a decent amount of red forces here, and that's the problem. Leo 2A3 also starting with a miss here against the T-55s. Finally finds a hit, but Leo 1A1 is in trouble, and here come all the bombers. Fallschirmjägers trying to get into the town. They at least make it in there. Can use their shock value now. Seaplane coming in, goes down. Both sides with a decent amount of losses here. Leo 2A3 still around. And the Fallschirmjägers, no, they are not doing it. There is all the special forces Fallschirmjägers of Tonnoman still alive, and they hold quite nicely. Harrier HE gets a kill there, but the infantry is just going down, and that's the big problem here. MiG-23 HE bomber getting another one killed, and it's just not getting through. More units pushing through the open. The Leo 2A3 still doing a good job, but not enough other fire support here. And there we go, cluster bomber gets the kill into the Leo 2A3 as well. And with that, the fire support is gone here for this push up north.
Yeah, this has been one of those perfect fourth moto games. Win the opener, get a 10-minute timer in which you can fortify both of the towns, and then wait until a not really a high-tech division, kind of a mid-tech division, does a late-game attack against you with zero veterancy forces. Like this has been even the Panzergrenadier Carl Gustavs, the Jaegers, and even the Fallschirmjägers are just Vet 1. The numbers aren't really being shown here to compensate for the availability that you gain when you lose the veterancy. The veterancy, in my opinion, is most important when you're attacking, because when you're attacking, that is when you need to be under fire. You need, and if you lose the cohesion, your units will, first of all, they'll start routing, which is a big problem because you've got to command them, but their movement speed is reduced, and you can't push open areas or keep up these fights if all of your troops are low cohesion. Even if your Leopard 2s can survive the Fagot hits, the fact that they will lose 40% of their rate of fire after getting hit a couple of times and getting stunned once again here by the Leopard 2 up north, these are just very inefficient. There's not enough explosive strength, not enough organized troops, not enough cohesive organizing here, and any units that get through can just be easily removed by the aircraft. Not to mention the RM70s.
Yeah, Lars trying the best on the other side, but yeah, it was just Suping trying to be aggressive on two flanks on the same time, and you need more concentrated force to break through. And the forces always felt a bit too split up there for doing this. whilst like from the get-go, getting into the infantry fights against 4th Mordschützen is a bad idea. Their infantry just gonna beat yours if you don't have any support. The way you usually want to play the West Germans is by really having a strong concentration of force, having your units, having light holding forces on the flanks, and then having one point where all your Marders, all your combined arms, all your mechanized force comes together, the Marders, the Leopards, the Gepards, and they just push through, hammer through, and destroy the enemy. And that didn't really happen here. It was always only single Leos that could be picked off quite easily with too little air defense and too little infantry in front, and they just got shredded every single time here.
Yeah, especially when you realize that the units with Vet2, such as the Fallschirmjägers, they have 5 times the cohesion recovery of the zero vet units on the West German side. So any kind of fights that are going to happen, the leopards, the fire support, is likely to lose their cohesion, and any cohesion damage that they do against the Fallschirmjägers up in the front line, or the Mordschützen, which have the resolute trait, significantly increased the cohesion defense on the regular infantry, not to mention special forces. All of those East Germans are just going to be happy and glad and in fighting spirits in no time. Meanwhile, all of the West German tanks need to go back, and they need to wait for minutes and minutes. And those minutes are very crucial when the core of this defense is held by bombers that take a couple of minutes time to refuel.
Yeah, we see MiG-23MF getting shut down here as well. Leo 1A1 and Leo 2A3 engaging the Rapiras, trying to get the kill. MiG-23 BN coming in with a cluster run. Gepard trying to retaliate as MiG-23MF under heavy fire there in the sky gets shut down, at least from the Eyehawk in the north, but it's only 59 seconds here now, and there's nothing anywhere close to getting in. And yeah, 4th is able to bring a combined arms everywhere on the map. Like, they love to spread it out because they can have a tank, a unit, a couple of infantry units, a recon unit, and an ATGM vehicle everywhere on the map at any point, because that combination of units costs you like 400 to 500 points each, whilst on the other side it's 700 to 800 points, which means that you can't do it at the beginning everywhere, whilst 4th can do it, and then they can beat you with the combined arms. And that's exactly what happened here. Tonnoman taking game number 1. GGVP, and Suping maybe has to adjust the strategy here in a matchup like this for the future. Still a decent show here. KD, as I said, not that bad. Like, Suping tried hard, tried decently, but Tonnoman still with the better one here in this matchup.
Yeah, look at the Fallschirm Sprengtaucher, the kill list of early on in the game, just removing with those good infantry micro, send in the guys with the satchel charges, eliminate Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer. The early on those kills immediately snowballed into winning the early infantry fights. There was a moment when an aggressive counterattack, maybe with a bunch of Marders and a bunch of cheap Sicherungsinfantry, could have actually turned the tide. But by the time Suping was confident in the attack, the fortifications were just too well built. But I would like to point out that Suping actually doesn't have any ranked games, so we are watching a player who doesn't even play 1v1. So it is no surprise that they might not really be in the pacing of 1v1 games, which are quite different, and they require you to be more active compared to skirmish and team games.
Yeah, ARM70 also doing a good job here. And yeah, Suping still holding out quite nicely here in game 1. We're gonna see how it goes in game 2. So yeah, we're gonna go into a quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back here with the second one. So don't run away. And see you in a second. you don't hear me. Okay, guys. Now you hear me. So yeah, packed on packed action it is this time around. People always complain we don't get enough packed on packed. These two hear us. We got 35th versus 22nd for all the packed lovers out there. And also, as War League is coming to an end, it's time to think about the next big event. And the next big event is going to be on the 31st of August. It's going to be a 2v2 tournament because we haven't had one of those in a while here on the WARNO, on the SDL Discord. And it is going to be a one-day event, up to 32 teams, Swiss-style format. So everybody who signs up gets to play till the end of the tournament and you get better and better matchups skill-wise throughout the tournament because it's based on previous results. So your opponents in upcoming rounds will be on a similar skill level to you. And yep, it will be a fun one-day event. All the rules to be found here on playsdl.com. There will be a prize pool as well. So yeah, check all that out. And yeah, really looking forward to that because 2v2 is fun. Currently playing in the Warriors event as well, which is a lot of fun. But let's focus here on the 1v1 action as well. 35th versus 27th. 7th. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, so this matchup is it is the lightest, most aggro Soviet division going against arguably the most high cost, not the heaviest, but the most high cost division in the form of 27th. Tonnoman doesn't really get that strong of an opener here, only with the Spetsas Vedkas, which are too overpriced to be used as assault troops, but still powerful enough and important recon units for the more expensive armored and mechanized units that will do the actual fighting and killing. The BRDM2s on both sides are very good value for money, fast, good stealth, optics, 2 machine guns. So so far we're seeing everything is pretty standard. Aside from the heli rush here, the 6 helicopters so far coming from Suping, Division 4 action here, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between. This opening up with a heli rush, even on this level, is a massive risk because if you don't get air superiority and your opponent can buy a couple of fighters, which I believe 27th gets 4 fighters max, the heli rush will be worthless. Heli rushes don't really do anything unless they do catastrophically well. You either break the enemy or it's very inefficient because you're going to have to run them back and then you're going to have to start repairing them and then you're going to have to start buying fighters to counter the enemy so that your helicopters can actually do something. And meanwhile, the more fundamentals based opener here from Tonnoman will be able to take map control and start fortifying. So this I think Susping on this map, forward deployment is very powerful, especially forward deployment with the Desantniki Metis units, because you have so many buildings that you can take out, and you can buy a lot of time for yourself by having the Desantniki Metis challenge the enemy. And the lack of infantry here from Susping means that this is likely just going to be kind of air cheese, hoping that Tonnoman doesn't buy enough AA in the start, hoping that the fighter dice rolls are going to go on Susping's side. And if they don't, this game will be kind of automatically forfeited to the player with the more ground game.
Yeah, also 27th is pretty strong against helicopters. Like they have the Strela 10M3, they have Tunguskas, so they don't even need fighters to deal with helicopters. They have fantastic ground-based AA, which other divisions struggle a bit again with, where their best anti-helicopter AA might be just the same range as the helicopters. That's not the case for 27th. So if the early game of Tonnoman survives here and he can get 3-4 of those AA pieces online, that would mute the helicopter advantage immediately, automatically, kinda as well. Tunguska's especially good there because they can shoot their long-range missiles, and even if they miss, they still have the gun if the enemy gets closer to stun them down and kill them off. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's for sure supposed to end the game quickly here, and we're gonna see if that can be done here by Susping.
but not a so far, not a single anti-air unit. Okay, now 2 E-class are coming from Tonnoman here, but so far not really expecting the heli rush here. And unless Tonnoman has bought a fighter or two, this is gonna be pretty. No, another E-class is coming up. E-class are good, but the Soviet helicopters, especially the Mi-24s, not the Mi-8s, but the Mi-24s and Akulas, they're armored, which means that they have more survivability against light AA, like the E-class. And with that amount of helicopters, you can just like DPS the E-class down after they've fired a single shot. Now the Tunguska is coming there. Yeah, with this Tunguska here, suddenly the chances of the air rush working are significantly lowered.
Yeah, not buying a Tunguska against 35th would be a mistake. Like, the chances that it can do something against something is pretty big. SU-25s, it's pretty good against as well, for example. And yeah, it has the guns, it has the long-range missiles, and the helicopters will be faster at the front line, obviously. They will have a bit of time to do some damage, but we will see if they actually can do something here. So yeah, let's go. And here we go with the action. Units coming in.
MiG-23 MLD the mold flying in, spotting all of this, and likely immediately making Tonnoman buy a second fighter as soon as the points go up. Suping does have 2 MiG-29s and a lot more in the deck, likely. And the MiG-24K, the recon chopper, did survive this. But now that the attack here has been spotted, all the units will likely be set up and given commands to respond and expect this heli rush. And the heli rush needs to work immediately. It does not have any lasting potential, especially with 0 infantry out here. Yeah, even the points are being spent to a cruiser to refuel and repair. Very expensive supply helicopter with 140 points, and going just fully all in on the helicopters. Now that
yeah, and they just a-click forward here, and that's not working out. The first 2 already down, one of them Recon, one of them Akula. The Recon one really important. You usually want to have that a bit closer to the rest of your helicopters. Iglas pushing it back as well, and the other Mi-24s and the are all being pushed back here. Tunguska holding the front line nicely. Double kill already, and there is nothing here really to capture the ground either. The double MiG-29 in the sky to keep all of this protected. So yeah, this is not going to work out.
Hold on. They are playing 27th versus 35th, both Soviet fed up. Yeah, this so far no command. A command unit has been called by Suping, but no infantry here to try to hold this. The Tonnoman's troops on the ground are so massive. There's so many points here that absolutely no way will Suping be able to win this unless these helicopters start trading up really fast. So Desantiki RPG-7s are actually being called in these very slow and weak helicopters, Mi-2s, and if the Tunguskas or enemy fighters even breathe into the direction of the Mi-2s, the infantry are going to go down. This really does seem kind of a Hail Mary here. Suping sending in the helicopters to try to pick out recon units, but this is the longer this heli rush is going to keep on going, the more Thors and Tunguskas are going to be in position, and the only weapon from the 35th that could maybe win against the dedicated anti-air units would be the Mi-27K, the LGB bomber, one of the best LGB bombers in the game so far. But those things are expensive and they need detection. They need to see where the Tunguskas are and they need to be targeted. The only recon here consists of the helicopters getting fired upon by the Tunguskas and some of the BRDMs here. So very unlikely that that's gonna work here. More infantry getting called out in these slow and weak
another
helicopters.
Hind going down in the north. We have only 1 remaining and 1 Mi-8. The Su-29's not able to catch the MiG-23 there. Have to be careful with how they fly out here as well now, as the Thor in the north can open up naturally on them as well. MiG-29 gets forced back, turns not south, and yeah, this is not working out. MiG-29 being shot out of the sky. We see the Mi-24 VP flying forward over here now, trying to move around, trying to get some kills. And yeah, BRDM chilling out over here. And yeah, another unit sitting down here to chill out there. As the 166 points already ahead for Tonnoman, and yeah, 35th has a lot of other solid units as well, but we don't see them, and they obviously want to use their helicopters later in the game as well. And oh no, now even losing me to deployed infantry here right now as well. This push is just not working out. You can't just A-click helicopters forward like we saw that in the early game, especially not against a division with so much good anti-helicopter gameplay. And yeah, this is a problem for Suping here right now.
Yeah, if Susping had taken maybe 3 helicopters and using them to take a strategic position, and then immediately after these helicopters have to retreat, the infantry units or the ground units or the BMDs would be out there to keep up the fight, and thus forcing Tonnoman to start buying both ground units and anti-air units. Yeah, maybe at that point, but when you're going very hard on a single weapon system such as the helicopters, that means that anything that can counter helicopters will just win. The helicopter rushes don't work on their own. They need a ground component. And even when you're cheesing, even when you're doing maybe a bit of unethical ladder gameplay, even then you don't win with just the helicopters. You win with the helicopters and the Conqueror's trucks. You win with the helicopters and the Desantiki Metis infantry. You win with combining the overpowered helicopter rushes with the rest of your units. The overpowered helicopter rushes on their own don't work. Don't do them. It's bad manners. Anyways.
Yeah, RPG 7s here now getting overwhelmed. We have BMP3s pushing forward, trying to deal with the Dejanikis, getting the kill there. Igla units coming around for the south. EMD with Dejaniki rolling in here as well, trying to get some forces into the front line. Whilst BRDM gets to fire onto some infantry in the open. Yeah, it's now the desperate attempt here from Susping to try to get something on the board, but 27th is just so stable. Like the BMP3 are just so hard to beat, and if they can set up all that stuff, they are a bit pricey in the early game, but once the combined arms of 27th is online, beating them is so hard. They have such a great combined arms and high quality combined arms, unlike what we saw with 4th earlier. They are kind of the complete opposite of that in the pact side of being the more pricey combined arms, but it works really well as well. And yeah, Susping here is struggling against that quite hard right now.
Yeah, just allowing your enemy to get this mechanized army, the battle group up in here, only trying to challenge all of this with the helicopters. It was over before it began, in my opinion.
Yes,
Tonnoman doesn't have to play well. Tonnoman literally just has to not a move all of the troops blindly, and this is the amount of troops and the advantage that the airborne lost by not using the forward deployment advantage is just made it so that the generally in this matchup the 35th will start with a early game scaling advantage, and the 27th would get better and better the more of the game kept going on, because they have expensive units and their units are slower and they need to get them on the board, and the airborne is just deploying fast and deploying in forward deployment fashion. But here the scaling is just only going to go Tonnoman's way, and the opener completely fell flat on his face.
Yes, air superiority by now for Tonnoman as well. The MiG-23 there most likely gonna get the kill on the MiG-29. Yeah, combination there on Tonnoman's side winning. a lot of the helicopters and even the transport ones being shut down. We now see a bit of BMD infantry. BMD, not bad, but for sure a good bit worse than its BMP3 counterpart on the other side. No tanks for 35th anymore. It's helicopter and mechanized force. No real heavy things. And yeah, Suping surrendering here. Tonnoman going up 2-0 here in this best of 5. Going to match point, and yeah, this one just fell flat completely. And really showed that heli rushes aren't really a thing anymore. Like, it was only 3 AA pieces there on Tonnoman's side to take that completely apart, and you can use helicopters annoyingly in the early game still. You just shouldn't bunch them up anymore. It's not a unit that can be stacked like this anymore, and it can expect successes, especially not without support from other units on the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm counting in my head, and I don't think the the amount of units that got killed by the helicopters are barely even worth the price of a single Mi-24V. There are no shortcuts to victory, my friends, unless you're playing earlier builds of WARNO, where there absolutely were a bunch of shortcuts to victory, but no longer. At least not in a way that can win you Division 4 finals.
Yeah, and yeah, we will see how this all goes. We will go on to the next one here. Tonnoman on match point now. So yeah, really strong show here, and Suping needs to find a new idea on how to beat him. So far, pretty solid combined arms play here out of Tonnoman in both games. And we'll see. I would expect that to continue. It's Suping who needs a new solution for this. So yeah, quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 3.
Just a child full of grace.
here we go, everybody. Game number 3, and Suping under a lot of pressure as Tonnoman is up 2-0 in this best of 5. So at least 2 match balls here to for Tonno until Suping can get into the decider game. And Suping going back to a division that we have seen Suping a lot of times before in games. Second Pentagon area here coming up. And it worked decently in the first game. Just a bit more focus necessary. Whilst Tonno going for another really standard division. 8 US infantry this time though, as we are on NATO's side. This time with Tonnoman as well. Here on Mount River. And guys, if you want to have some more WARNO in your life, check out Chloride's YouTube channel. Chloride is not just sitting in here with me from time to time. He also it has a cool Twitch channel. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, check out Chloride's lovely Twitch channel with a lot of good action there, a lot of more explaining of the game, political discussions, everything you want to have in.
Yes. So for those who have been asking, yes, I am back. I streamed 5 hours yesterday, so you're welcome to go watch the VODs for those who have been asking for all summer for me to come back. But yes, I am now. I have come back.
Summer holidays are over. The sun is
not
setting
again
in Finland. The darkness creeping in slowly but surely.
Oh no! It's we still have at least 3 weeks more in university. We have very long holidays. But
okay.
Yes. But getting into the game here, I think if I may critique Suping's opener here a lot, getting this many infantry units, even on forward deployment, this is 7 squads of Fallschirmjäger with the Milans and the assorted recon. Investing too much into infantry blobs can win you games on the earlier levels when you have infantry versus infantry fights, but getting these, especially looking at that, these four units getting deployed very closely together, they can be easily countered. There's no anti-air here to speak of. Possibly the anti-air will be brought by F-16s, hopefully, because otherwise a single Cobra can just ruin all of this. A bomber aircraft, a long-range fire superiority, IFVs or tanks. Of course, no IFVs for the 8th, but investing too much in a single class of unit is a problem, that because any good player or any decent player knows that can be hard countered. They just have to build their decks in a way that allows hard countering. One of the best hard counters in the game for infantry blobs is actually with the West Germans, the Merschekwappe, the MW1. And we can see from Tonnoman's side that the deployment is significantly less concentrated on the infantry blob, even though there are special forces rangers coming in both through ground and air. But that investing more than 4 or 5 infantry units in a single tightly packed location is just begging for them to get RT'd or airstriked.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's also not really necessary. Like, even a couple forward deploy units mean that the enemy has to respect them and can't just run over them. If you get that many, they don't really. They have a diminishing return there. Like, the enemy won't run into 2 Fallschirmjägers over the open field. It doesn't change if you have 2 or 4 there for the most part. But it means that you are more vulnerable to other things. The F-16 coming in, Tornado AA on the other side, but it's 1 versus 2, and the F-16 doesn't even need its brethren. It gets it done in a 1v1 situation anyways. That's why you usually want to have 2 fighters at once, if you bring in fighters in duels like this. And yeah, that's a bad start already here once more for Suping. Looking a bit rough here, especially if those helicopters now show up that you were talking about. Rangers getting in here into the center. Special force advantage, and another BO-105 getting shut down here as well.
The Fallschirmjägers deploying just a little bit further away than necessary, meaning that there's going to be the Rangers Dragon actually probably will be able to get in here before they can be engaged by the Fallschirmjägers. The Black Hawks, considering there is no AA here, and Tonnoman knows it because Tonnoman's fighters have been flying around this area and nothing's been firing at them, having the Black Hawks here just provide the extra covering fire against these one vet Fallschirmjägers. So the Fallschirmjägers get stunned and they get cohesion damage here. All the American troops are in buildings, none really, well, now they are, but generally not. LGB bomber coming in, destroying the building, taking I think 2 Fallschirmjägers together with them, and it's done. The no support here, no reasonable support, nothing to help them. Fallschirmjägers on their own, just getting owned.
Yeah,
On
the
the
ones in the
north, we see
north doing quite decently, but yeah, all 4 Fallschirmjägers in the center just getting completely annihilated. And yeah, no mortar support, no artillery, no bombers, nothing like that. And that's the problem. Like, you need fire support there. Obviously, against rangers with dragons, it's not as easy as you would like, maybe. Will change once the range here will be reduced, and mortars can use their autocannons as fire support from a long range, which still won't be super efficient because especially the mortars autocannon is not that great on long range, but will give you something. And yeah, currently this opener once more really struggling here for Suping. We have some more infantry in the north trying to push forward. Mech Rifle Dragon coming in here, trying to find the kill, get a hit onto the mortar, and the mortar will have to disengage. Fallschirmjägers there getting picked off out in the open as well. And yeah, infantry on their own in WARNO just can't win you the games. It's not that powerful in this game. The game has a lot of mechanized components. Infantry is great at holding stuff, great at helping you out getting into positions, but it's not the unit itself that will win you games usually.
Yeah, Toe Cobra getting here, and currently there's only a single Eyehawk, and it's pretty far away, so it doesn't necessarily, it can't really even shoot at the helicopters. The Scout Recon heli goes up front, Toe Cobra behind it. Even with only 14 rockets, the Toe Cobra's rotary cannon will be able to do very strong damage, and even the Scout helicopter has miniguns that they can freely fire upon the Fallschirmjägers. The only real positive of the 7.62 infantry weapons is the fact that they actually get a pretty good range against helicopters. They get 700-meter range against helicopters, whereas 5.56 infantry get only 525-meter range against helicopters. So they are able to wound and drive off the Scout, but the Toe Cobra, and now the Gepard getting in there, driving the Toe Cobra out. If this combined arms with the aircraft and the remaining Fallschirmjägers can actually organize, it's possible for Suping to be able to compete for this zone. But reinforcements coming in and the apparent air superiority, considering the F-111 LGB bomber is still out there somewhere, Eyehawk taking a very good hit against the F-16, Gepard not being able to finish it. But despite this, I believe they do get siege bombers in siege planes in 8th Infantry. Or do they? Yes, they do. They get the Wild Weasel. So
No.
the Wild Weasel... Oh,
They get the
don't they?
E-Warfare. The Wild Weasel is in other US decks.
Oh yeah, they don't get it anymore. Nowadays they get the Electronic Warfare plane. Yeah.
Yeah. So but the ping is on the Eyehawk anyways, because I guess the plan is to use some artillery in the near future, take that out of that. And Suping sold the transport of this Eyehawk. You shouldn't do that. You should always have the transports sitting around for the Eyehawk so you can load them back in, rotate them around. Staying on one position with them is really risky and leaves you open to being hit by artillery quite easily. And these units are expensive, so you don't want to have that happen. We have a couple more mortars coming in here, a couple of Jaegers as well, and in the center, yeah, we see the capture now for Tonnoman going up on the take, whilst Suping has not even captured the rear zone here. I'm not sure what exactly went wrong there. Iltis leader now on the way. No, still not in the way on the way there. Mistakes were made, and we see the mortars once more coming around, and a bit of infantry pushing forward. But all those bigger infantry, the chunkier infantry with the Fallschirmjägers, have been already lost. So now the mortars don't really have the meat in front of them, and the combined arms are still not really fully set up. So it's still not an easy spot here for Suping to push through with. But on the other side, we have those mech rifles that take out one of the martyrs with Panzer Grenadiers inside immediately. Ooh, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, if that was a side shot even, I believe the Martyrs are capable of surviving a single hit from a dragon with their pretty heavy front armor of 5. That's one of the only positive things about the Martyr, aside from its price, is its generally better armor than other comparable IFVs, despite having pretty weak weapons. And now, no, they do have the Wild Weasel. You were wrong about this. They do have the Wild Weasel. The Wild Weasel going out there, taking out the Gepard. The Eyehawk does not have supply, so the Eyehawk is incapable of countering it. But the Eyehawk had been marked, so the LGB bomber comes and takes it out. Currently, the Suping buying 2 Lars and while completely losing all air supremacy to the 8th Infantry. 8th Infantry has stuff like A-10s, LGB bombers, and regular good bombers. And this is the singular Eyehawk coming there with the Gepard will just not be enough. And A-10 AT already coming up there, knowing Tonnoman knowing that there's no air defense here, they can fly the A-10 very safely. A-10 is armored, it's slow, it's got amazing weapons, and as long as nothing is firing at it, it can basically destroy entire formations and even fortified infantry squads with cannons.
I'm a bit confused right now. Like, when did they get the seaplane? Like, they
They
didn't
get the
have them in the past, and it was one of the weaknesses. And then they got the E-Warfare plane, which was supposed to. They had the Raven at the beginning, yeah. Then I guess they
had
got
the
in the downtime they got the seat. Like then they had the time where they had no seat, and I guess they got the Wild Weasel in replacement at some point. But I don't think that should be there. We have already enough other divisions with Wild Weasels, but hey, so be it. Yeah, they use it here. They get the kill. Suping not really good at the anti-seat micro. You always should be ready for that micro against enemy helicopters, enemy seat planes. In a matchup like this, Marder 183 versus Mech Rifle Dragons. Yeah, with the Raven being around again, I feel like the seat plane should be removed from that division again. But yeah, that's just my feeling about 8 being too good of an all-rounder anyways. And the E-Warfare plane being helpful there to enough of an extent. But yeah, that doesn't really matter right now. What matters is that Tonno is on a +4 here. And this game is running out of time here for Suping quickly.
Yeah, the +4 and at the same time no organized attack happening here. Suping really buying defensive units such as the Eyehawks, positioning units defensively, and meanwhile no damage has been done to Tonnoman's Air Force. By the time Suping is ready to start another attack, either the tick has already finished the game, or or Tonnoman's Air Force is ready to stop the attack.
Yeah, we see
Yeah,
the
this-
Lars
ta-
coming
taking
around
out-
for the south. Rangers, Toes, Lars there being hit. Lars trying its best and doing a bit of damage. It fires so slowly though that you can micro away from it quite quickly. Yeah.
A fair point has been made in the chat. Suping hasn't captured his own back point, meaning that there could be this could be even, or not even, maybe. No, yeah,
No,
this
it
could- this
wouldn't
could
be
only
even,
a
but yeah, it
+2.
would be only a +2 instead
Yeah.
of a +4. Suping, yeah, missing that still hasn't moved anything in there, and the time is running out quickly here. 5 minutes remaining. Lars coming in for the next target here. Toe and 50 cal on the fire. We have still a decent hold here for Tonnoman in the center though. CV might go down there to the Lars, but yeah, the rate of fire is relatively slow. Not able to get the kill. Up north, mech rifles holding out quite nicely. Fallschirmjägers, they are moving around as well, and we have 4 minutes 50 remaining. We have more and more units coming in here, but a lot of it support equipment for Suping currently. And on the other side, we have an M1A1 coming up as well. That is a fantastic unit to lock down the map with. And the Toe Cobra here, dealing a decent amount of damage constantly as well. M109 getting super close to the front line here for direct fire support. As we see the +4 here constantly ticking up.
Yeah, this is Susping Tonnoman. After Tonnoman managed to kill the tornado, this has just been a snowball of systematically targeting enemy anti-air units and then using the very good bombers of the A-10s and the F-111s, specifically the F-111 LGB. The other F-111s are bad, don't use them. But using them to counter all the attacks, just a similar way that it happened in the first game. For all the noobs in chat, the best way to use aircraft is all at once. Plan them out, organize them, mix in the seeds. Currently, iHawk Micro is happening, so the seed plane is not getting any kills here outside of the Gepard. Of course, if you turn your radar AA off, that means that seed planes will not automatically target them, or siege missiles will not. And with this amount of micro here, A10 gets driven out, and the LGB plane got killed, I think. So this is an improvement on Susping from earlier game, but the damage has been done here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we see still a decent amount of units sitting around here in the center. Milan 2 sitting in there too. Artillery coming again against the iHawk. iHawk is in trouble, as we see the M19 there firing. Chaparral getting a recon helicopter immediately shot out of the sky, whilst the Lars coming in here towards the south. Rangers not really being faced by it though, and there's so few low units and only 2 minutes 30 remaining. Iltis leader finally realizing the issue in the rear.
No,
Will
it's
buy
not
a
going.
bit
It's
more
just going
time, but
It's
it
not
is
going there.
so late in this game.
No, it's not going there. It's not going there. It's been routed to a different place. The Iltis leader is not capturing the point.
Oh, it's actually going to the center. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue with the small maps on this zone on this map is that if you drive through it, you don't capture it with a fast CV. And they're just a bit too big, a bit too small, and you're a bit too fast through them that you don't fully capture them. So you always have to check that you actually capture it. I had that issue in one of my latest YouTube games as well, where I drove through it here a bit too fast. And yeah, this will end the game here. 1 minute 48. LGB coming in, and it will be Tonnoman with the victory here in this one in Division 4. Gepard going down. Seed coming around. Like, yeah, Susping playing a good combined arms, but Tonno playing way more meta, having really adjusted to the meta. Yeah, and making this a really solid game, showing his previous Eugen game experience here after adjusting to the WARNO meta, after crying how bad he is, which, to be honest, maybe was listened a bit too much by me. I should have maybe put Tonno into Division 3 at the beginning of the season, but he cried about how bad he is a bit too convincingly, and lost a couple of ranked games too convincingly, so that's why he ended up in Division 4. Yeah, will be easier in future seasons to decide, but yeah, that's how he ended up here. Will be in Division 3 next season though, but so will Susping here. So yeah, Iltis Führer under fire will get killed. We see, so no capture of the center zone here. That could have stopped the take, but there's so much infantry in here, so chances of getting through there not likely. And Rangers still holding out here, never got fully killed off. Artillery of Susping not achieving much here either. And
Yeah, the lot of players, especially on lower levels, they use forward deployment units as a crutch. They have they want to start the games at an aggressive stance because that is the easiest way to start out the game. That gives you some amount of time, some amount of space to start building up your combined arms battle group, which in Susping's case means Larses and likely some aircraft as well if the Tonnoman hadn't won the early air war. But using the investing so hard into the Fallschirmjägers doesn't get pay itself back for Susping, and I think Susping would straight up just be better in buying half the amount of Fallschirmjägers and investing rest of that to just immediately start out with the combined arms. The Fallschirmjäger meta is not a thing if your enemy knows what they're doing. and you have to throw away your crutches, and you have to learn timing attacks, you have to learn build orders. You can't just buy yourself 5 minutes of early game by buying 7 Fallschirmjägers. It doesn't pay itself back.
Yeah, you have to use them a bit more strategically than this. Otherwise, they will get punished like they were here. Tonnoman doing a good job there. And yeah, getting the W here in a 3-2-0 clean fashion. And yeah, winning this one here. So yeah, we will see still both in Division 3 next season. Suping, as I said, having a good run nonetheless beforehand, and playing quite solid. WARNO just have to adjust a bit to how it goes on the higher levels, on how to use those units in a combined arms fashion a bit better, and especially like not playing the divisions all kind of the same. And then the game number 2 was a cheese play that also was more targeted towards lower skill level players, where the opponent might just rage quit against helicopters or stumble heavily against it, not quite knowing what to do. But Tonno just kept it cool, didn't suicide anything into it, used the AA and got the W there. And yeah.
Yeah, so but those of you who have been underwhelmed at the Division 4 Grand Finals here, we are
It
now
was just the
moving in.
semifinals, as I explained at the beginning.
Oh, yes, this was the semifinals. Oh yes, I forgot. Of course. But are we going into the
Yeah.
finals now? Or
No, we're
okay.
going into the Division 1 third place match now. Neff versus Mix 90. Best of 3 action there, guys. The highest level play. Prize money on the line. As
Former
both of
world
these guys
champion.
had interesting shows in the semifinal. Neff coming in a really, really close one with Yuki Poa. Mix 90, finalist of last season, falling a bit under the bus here in the semifinal, getting overrun by Berthex. Having kind of the Lathans experience there. But we will see if he can get his revenge here and at least secure the third place after being second place last season. Neff versus Mix 90 coming up after a short break. Best of 3 here. It's only the third place match in quotation marks, though still high level play here. Still prize money on the line. So see you all there in a second with this third place match between Mix 90 and Neff.
Somehow it makes me so sad. Knowing I could be instead.
So here we go, everybody. Neff versus Mix 90. High level competitive play here. Nearly the absolute highest level. Division 1, third place match. The two semifinalists that didn't quite make it, but that still have shown us amazing games throughout the seasons, throughout WARNO history in general. And we already have a hard matchup here for game number 1 with 35th versus TKS. You already know where my alliance lays in that matchup. And we also have a prize pool here on the line. As thanks to all of your support, guys, we have $53.40 currently for third place, and $35.60 for fourth place. So there is still a bit of difference in between these two. And yeah, thanks for all of you supporting the tournament through Match Arena. If you still want to contribute, the contribution will still be up until the end of the weekend. If you want to raise the prize pool a bit higher for these amazing shows that the players have shown to us. And also, if you want to participate in another SDL event and you want to play in a 2v2 event maybe with a friend, consider joining us for the WARNO Swiss Championship at 2v2. As we have a one-day tournament there in Swiss style. The Swiss format meaning that there's no eliminations. Everybody will have all the rounds to play, and they will be matched against other teams with similar standing after round 1, so it balances itself out. You get all 5 games to play, and you have fun, and we still have a winner in the end. So yeah, hope to see you all there as well. You can find all of that on the website on playsdl.com or on the Discord, all the information there. But yeah, let's get back in here. Neff versus Mix90. What do you think about this really interesting matchup?
So Knef was generally known as the guy who who held the number 1 spot on the ladder by mostly doing very strong aggro openers with airborne and infantry heavy divisions. And a lot of people did call Knef a one-trick pony, but even though that might not be a fair assessment, this TKS opener here really reflects the super aggro gameplay style that Knef has been deploying here. The AMX-10 RCs are amazing opener units, but not really the best scaling in the late game. Green Berets, Fallschirmjäger B1s are some of the best opener infantry in the game. They are airborne deploying special forces with close quarters infantry weapons and also pretty decent AT4s. Supported by the VLRA 20 millimeters, the forward deploying French AA cars, AA trucks. This means that they can also counter early helicopters, which is pretty rare for infantry forward deployment infantry openers. That's a very big boon. They also get the BGS, the reworked BGS with the Nazi helmets, which, despite everything, are still very good recon units with 9 for 35 points and 9 strength. Amazing survivability, amazing spotting capacity, and behind them there are reserve pioneers, which I believe with 15 points might be the cheapest actual infantry squads in the game. Or 15 points for 6 guys and satchel charges. On the other side, from Mix 90, we're seeing a more standard Desert Metis heavy opener, which Descending Metis, as I mentioned in the earlier game, very powerful on this map because they can forward deploy and hold a lot of ground, as well as fight efficiently against infantry units with their pretty decent 7-man squads. And so far, I believe that the game will scale better for Mix 90 just because the fact that Mix 90 does have the BMD2s. On the other hand, NF does have tanks. The tanks are just very old, from the 1950s pretty much, and only really capable of doing fire support against infantry. But fire support against infantry when you're playing against an airborne division can be crucial. The first VLRA taken out by the Desantniki Conquerors, AMX-10s spotting a BMD-2, which is actually running away, which is probably the smart choice. Neither of these players, early infantry openers, really getting too close, both of them playing carefully, waiting to get their points on the board. But it seems like Neff is still taking the more offensive stance, which is fitting because TKS does start scaling worse than 35th, in my opinion.
I
But
actually
on the
have
other,
to disagree with that statement. Like, you have the better artillery. You have, or at least similar artillery with M110s. You have cheaper infantry because you don't pay the extra tax on everything. You don't get taxed by the forward deployed tax lord for every single infantry unit that you bring, and which in the long game scales for a lot because you bring a lot of infantry throughout the game, and you only pay that at the beginning for the couple of forward deploy units. Plus those M48s, yeah, they are not that great, but they can survive a hit or two. MX-10s can't though. They don't, and losing them is pretty painful. But yeah, having some tanks against having no tanks, and having cheap infantry against having to pay extra on all your infantry, I feel like is pretty solid for TKS here. So, and
I think
you have
that's
the airstream
fair.
as well.
I think would like to say that the 35th scales better in the mid game, not necessarily in the late game. In the late game, when you all have all of your artillery and your Ihawks up, that's a different thing. But in the mid game, unless TKS gets good positions in the opener, they really don't have anything else to attack except for the infantry waves supported by the heavy artillery. And here, at least up north, we're seeing the Green Berets getting and the BGS getting engaged by the BMD-2s, which is just pushing them out. Very expensive infantry getting taken out by the autocannons. And on the other fronts, there are only reinforcements coming. Nobody really taking engagements.
Yeah, surprisingly few units to deal with those BMD2s. The MX-10's also surprisingly bad micro there from Neff. And we can see a couple of Jaegers coming in for the south. They try their best there to get in, but the situation really a lot of losses here to those BMD2s. The small little IV doing a fantastic job here for X90. Ihawk coming in now. We see the first artillery piece rolling in for Neff as well, but the north is completely lost. Neff now has to focus on the south and the center. And that's not going to be easy either. Reserve Pioneer, one of the cheapest infantry units in the game. 15 points, 6 hit points. You get some Uzis to get a satchel charge, but it's all with the reservist trait as well. Meanwhile, Jaegers with Panzerfaust here. Decent 11 hit point squad, but yeah, the Ihawks need to come around, the artillery needs to come around. First couple of M48s rolling out as well, and yeah, I'm not sure I like this position here for Neff right now. The losses were quite heavy, and the air spam is not really in the position either, though that can bring 35th to the ground as well, if you deal with their MiG-29s, and you can deal with them with the Mirages and the F-104 fighters. They can fall apart because they don't have much long-range AA, and you have a lot of high-altitude bombers.
Yeah, the Ihawks so far haven't really gotten the best positions to deploy. They're reasonably far away, which is the safer way to insert them. I don't remember if 35th gets seed. I'm pretty sure they do because they're an air division. But as long as the MiG-29s are kept safely in the backlines, the numbers with these MiG-29s means that there probably are more of them in at the base for MiGs. So any fighters that are going to try to challenge this one that is doing patrol and providing air recon for the Soviets will likely be supported by a bunch of other ones in case the Mirages actually try to start challenging this. But the Starfighter doing a bombing run, removing the elite Afghansi unit, and surviving without with the Ihawk actually doing a counterpunch against the MiG-29, pushing it back to the base for a long time now.
Yes, the Jaegers outside of buildings though, Neff here not on his peak performance with those infantry units. Like usually Neff one of the better infantry players. This is not ideal. Jaegers getting pushed back. They are one-star veterancy, so in buildings they can hold out quite nicely, but they don't do so here. The bombs of the M104 start continue falling. We see some Gazelle cannons trying to come around here as well, and yeah, those starfighters are the scary bit here. Starfighters plus a couple of other support units, and then Mix 90 might be in trouble, but so far going pretty decently. Infantry trade's quite nice. We see some BM21 Ruts sitting around here now as well. One Dajaniki BMD getting eliminated, but the situation still continues to be quite solid here for X90, especially as the Iglas immediately deal with the Gazelle Cannon as well.
Yeah, this is what I was saying about the mid game scaling of 35th. Now that NEF didn't really win anything in the early opener, the BMD2s are just enough to destroy all of the infantry squads, and they're not big enough targets, only 50 points costing, and you get a lot of them on 35th. They're not strong enough targets that you want to send aircraft against them or helicopters or anything. So Knef is kind of forced to use the limited armor to stay back and build up troops as the tick is going for Mix 90. The starfighters, being high altitude bombers, they really can't be countered efficiently by the Iglas. So the MiG-29s, one MiG-29 gets a kill, but gets counterpunched by the Eyehawk immediately. And
yeah, Eyehawk not finding the kill though, and I'm surprised we don't see any of the assisting fighters of Nef, especially the Mirages. Would be helpful in the Eyehawk combination and to get the kills there, to really get the starfighters through, as you need those starfighters to stay alive. That's kind of the only win condition that Nef has left here. Micros the Eyehawk. We see now F104AA. They should have been around a couple of seconds ago. Get a good strafing run there on the first unit. Continue flying around. They aren't the best fighter, but they're dirt cheap. Only 130 points for a unit that is really fast. Only has 10 ECM, only has 8 hit points, and only has short range missiles, but the damage output is okay for its price point, and the speed is fantastic. MiG-29 there, nearly going down, but so do the starfighters. Another F-104 coming in with another bombing run. Can find the kill. Nope, only finds damage. Gazelle Cannon sitting around, trying to help out, as the rocket artillery misses the Eyehawk completely. Yeah, not a super strong position to play from Nef, but if the air control can be fully gained, there might still be a way.
Yeah, the Grad Vs were used to counter artillery, the Eyehawk, but as you mentioned in an earlier game, Gneth immediately repositioned the Eyehawk with the truck, the unsold Mancat 6x6, and the Mancat 6x6 actually has 81 kph off-road, so it's very good transport unit for the that can fast move the Eyehawks out before enemy artillery can aim at them. And the Grad Vs, despite only firing 2 salvos of 12 rockets, could have actually destroyed anything that they can that they aim at. So this was a tactical victory for Nef so far. Let's see if Nef actually manages to keep it up.
LGB coming in from Mix-90 this time around, going for the M48. AMX-10 really close to this as well, so it might be a double kill. Yes, it is a double kill. That is really rough for Nef, especially the loss of the MX-10 RC is really pricey. The M48's not that great, not that scary. They only have 1925 meter range, so they can't really fire on long range against the BMDs, and that is going to be a problem. Point capture coming up. One of the Eyehawks, the second one, doesn't get microed with the Mancat 6x6. That one got sold, so it immediately gets taken out by the rocket artillery, and Mix-90 on top of his game here with 35th. And Nef a bit struggling here with the TKS.
Yeah, the so far the early game positions that Mix-90 took were very powerful and haven't really this has been a position where Mix-90 could have easily overextended but Nef has been pretty careful but has been pretty careful to not start sending large amounts of troops in positions where the TKS could bog them down into big fights where artillery advantage helps kill them. The infantry are spread out. There are ATGMs that are spread out and constantly both refueled rearmed and moved around to dodge the artillery. And even though there's only a single point tick for Mix, this is still a defensive position. Now going back to 2, okay, capturing the middle hangar position.
Yeah, Ultramega B1 getting shut down here. We see there's a Nikki Medis in the south. 104 coming around again. Nikla trying to get the shot out. 104, number 2 coming in. Trying to go for the kill for Dejaniki, not quite getting it. Starfighter number 2 goes down. And the M48's trying to roll in here, trying to roll forward. It's the A2 version though, which doesn't have the 50 cal. I really like the other one that is a bit cheaper more, that has less penetration. And 70 penetration is decent here for an 80 point tank, but the other one has a good bit more HE firepower thanks to those 50 cals, especially for its price point of being 70 instead of 80 points. And the LGB bomber getting out alive here as well.
Yeah, Gnef flying once again. The Eagle actually managed to tag the LGB bomber, which means that it's just going to take an extra time returning. So not even though they're losing the Spetsnaz to an LGB bomber, this is not the loss of the Spetsnaz is not tactically relevant, at least not yet. The Nef's reserve pioneers could start moving forward, but I don't think Nef really has any ability to support them or build up to that push. So but no, the LGB gets stacked by the iHawk at the cost of a single pattern. That's strong showing from the iHawk so far.
Yeah, the iHawk so far doing really well. Mix Neff needs to get it back in. 90 has attacked immediately. Might consider trying to get it as the iHawk is moving. I see more 10.
The Metis missiles doing short work of the patterns here. The patterns are trying to, or the pattern is trying to move into, try to reveal positions for the artillery, because there aren't really any other units that can do that. But front-facing hits from all Soviet AT weapons will do significant damage to the pattern. Pattern is already very slow, so on low cohesion, it's base, and especially on reverse, it's basically immobile after getting hit a couple of times.
Yeah, and the air spam here continues by Neff, but Neff also continues bleeding units there. Starfighter here, next potential example, does survive for now, continues flying though. And Mix 90 here with Platz 2 in a decent spot to getting closer to finishing out this game here.
A daring attack coming from the 2 air mobiles, deploying straight into the Foxtrot zone here. Unfortunately, they will get on range of the anti-helo infantry, but they still might actually, the Super Pumas are pretty fast and strong, they might actually be able to stop them. Wait, no, they only have 8 health. They may not actually be able to survive this hot zone landing.
Yeah, this is a dangerous thing to do. Yes, in the meantime, 155mm trying to fire here.
Gretschets opening fire on the Super Pumas. Second gas opening fire, doing short work of the first plane, the first helicopter. Second one getting taken down. That's a bad loss. I think Gnef was just simply kind of betting that there would be less AA there, considering that he had flown his planes over this and hadn't seen the amount of anti-helo.
Yeah, and Mix 90 by now has a good bit more on the board here, has been really efficient with trades, and that is insanely hard to come back from, if not to say impossible, especially on Division 1. The advantage here for Mix 90 is quite massive. Neff will try to find a way on dealing with this, but it doesn't really get one right now. You just have to play absolutely OP to, from here on out, like win every single trade. But MiG-25 Seed, for example, has something against that. We'll see. That one does connect.
Oh, iHawk excellence. The iHawk is at
iHawk getting the kill. Gepard, or real RA 20mm actually, Not finding a kill from the south, unfortunately, though. Or fortunately for Mix90, and Mix90 bringing a lot more forces here into it in the south. Rocket artillery still sitting in the rear. North, pretty decently defended. And this is...
LGB plane coming back once again, trying to not targeting anything, flying dangerously close. The MiG-29 gets the beat on the F-111, gets shot, gets hit, might actually be able to take this yet massive, massive loss. One of the highest tech units, one of the most efficient weapons in the TKS arsenal, getting taken out for free here. Bad micro, bad luck, just and didn't even drop its bombs. Yep.
Yeah, GG is called here. Neff losing too many assets here of that combined arms that you want to get online with TKS. BMD's no real unit that to deal with that in the early game, and it just went rampant. The early game engagements already going super in favor, as you can see. A lot of Mix-90 kills here. The AMX-10 RC's not really playing to their full potential at all, and the BMDs just bullying them. If you have a look at the first couple of minutes, how many kills were done by BMDs, it's quite impressive. And yeah.
Yep, the BMD fire support. The TKS doesn't have a large amount of ATGMs. They don't have ATGM infantry, no dragons, no metis, and those units could easily take out or at least drive out the BMD2s, very lightly armored airborne IFVs. But in this matchup specifically, TKS beats stuff like BMD2s with their tanks or with getting close enough with their infantry. And considering the West German infantry are large squads, so they can do that en masse, but this critical mass of infantry and tanks was never built up strong enough. The BMD2s having only 3 Conquerors missiles, but those are Conquerors missiles. Those are very long range and pretty accurate. So even with the singular patterns or singular Sonderwagens on AMXs, BMDs are not defenseless against them. And with enough control and good enough positioning, the 35th really had after the opener was lost by TKS, the game slowly went to Mix-90 after every battle.
Yeah. Neff neither getting air superiority, nor getting the engagements early on, and that's something that is pretty punishing if you play TKS. They either want to air spam through the long run, or they want to grab some ground early and then set down. Both things failed quite heavily here, and we'll see if Neff can come back from this in game number 2. Gonna go into a short break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with Neff versus Mix90, game number 2 in this third place match here, the B final basically of Division 1, highest level of play. Still, as I said, prize money on the line, so gonna see how it goes. If Mix90 can finish it off here now, or if Neff can bring it to a decider game.
Davai, davai.
so here we go, everybody. The game number 2 between Mix90 and Neff. Neff on the left side, bringing in one of my favorite divisions of all time, KDA here, coming in, which we saw in the grand finals as well, on the same map, used by Burfax, and quite successfully, though not fully successfully there. And Mix90 here, playing 24th against it. So, yeah, this is quite the hot matchup. Let's see.
Yeah, 24th being my favorite division.
So, yeah, hot stuff. So, yeah, let's have a look here. As Neff is a bit faster on the deployment, we have double OSA. So, it is a relatively quick push here. Doesn't want to get shut down by any Cobras coming around. And then a lot of ATGMs, like a wall of ATGMs and 50 cults here. T-54s, not great against any tanks, but solid enough to deal with enemy IVs and APCs, and really solid as an IV kind of itself, because it has a lot of HE output for 70 points. And in the south, and then in front of that, a lot of KDA aufklärers, which are just dirt cheap. And what does Mix90 throw against that here?
Yeah, what I really like about 24th is that it is a very versatile division that is especially good in defending long-range engagements. But due to it being an American mechanized division, it also has a good amount of Cobras, National Guards Apaches, and a single card of aircraft troopers, which are helicopter deployed. The helicopter isn't the best. It's a pretty slow, older generation Huey. It's not the Black Hawk, which is way faster and has more survivability. But despite this, with 24th, you can take some early positions that you generally wouldn't be able to do with a division that is as defensive as it is. There are large amounts of National Guards units as well as National Guards Bradleys, which are Bradleys, so high-tech IFVs with reservist trait, which makes them significantly cheaper. So 24th can bring out a lot of pain in a very short area. I think the reason why Berthax chose KDA on this map and why Neff is now choosing KDA on this map is that the engagement ranges are generally pretty low, and on this map the fights get packed. There's not a lot of space going on here. These are tight corners, and in tight corners the ability to quickly replace your large infantry squad, so your 14-man KDA Schutzen, can actually be way more value than on some other maps like Two Lakes, where you have so much space to move around and KDA doesn't really have any maneuverable units. That is what I believe was the problem with Berthax when Berthax lost the game with KDA. Despite KDA working here well, if your opponent has maneuverability, if your opponent has MBTs, Bradleys, can move around and quickly take good engagements, KDA, being a more static division, can't really do a lot about that. And and yes, the 24th does get Abrams. They get the improved protection and IP Abrams. And already we're seeing a single Bradley being brought to a fire support and tank killing capacity, I believe.
Yeah. And another thing that makes KDA good on this map is that artillery is quite efficient because, as you said, everything is on relatively close quarters. KDA, one of the best artillery decks in the game. Plus, the A8 is fantastic as well, shutting down the airspace quite quickly, especially once the big boy books are out. But yeah, OSAS have to do it first here against the Cobra coming in on the other side, flying in here quickly to get rid of any forward deploy infantry. Ooh, one of the KDA shots and they're not really starting. The KDA Aufklärer not really starting there for Neff. Neff not using any air spam here early on. Cobra coming in, finding one of the KDA Aufklärers. They try to run through the forest, but they will get a lot of damage into their face here. Cobra now switching onto ATGM in the rear as well. And the OSAS going north. So not immediately going into the Cobra here.
I believe the flak tank was actually rerouted to go north, which is interesting. I guess they just don't want to get in close to the area, which can be taken out over. The road can be targeted by both the tanks and the Bradleys, and the command Abrams coming in here choosing the safer road, which I think it's smart on the long term. And one of the strongest units on 24th is the Strike Eagle. The Strike Eagle, despite getting some price buffs, is still very expensive at 315 points. And Strike Eagle is not really worthwhile if you're targeting KDA units. Strike Eagle can absolutely ruin heavy armored divisions with its fast-moving, fast-firing, high survivability LGB bombing, but they can't. The KDA has nothing worth buying a 315 point.
Yeah, the MiG-21
LGB.
rocket here is interesting because Neff had seen the Phantom before, so just sending your MiG-21 in there, not the best idea. It survives though. We have double Phantom here on MiX-90 side. It's a classic MiX-90 opener in that regard. Coming a bit later, a slightly delayed MiX-90 move here, as the second Phantom wasn't bought directly at the start, but in minute 1. But we have on the other side the big boy, the big 4 massive Buk missiles here coming in. Fantastic range against aircraft. Fantastic damage as well. Solid accuracy. Yeah, first missile already flying out. Not finding its target, otherwise the Phantom would have been already toast. But in the north, we have heavy infantry fights here. And it's interesting to see. You talk all about the Bradleys. A lot of these fire teams come without their Bradleys on MiX-90 side.
Yeah, that is true. But I think on this map, it is such a small map, and the deployment speeds are so fast that having the extra speed and the versatility in deploying them can be pretty smart. I think the KDA shoots and Zagradotriad push here was expected, and but there are no 50 cal machine gun teams, nothing like that. That is competing against this. On the other hand, American infantry units do get a lot of machine guns if the fire teams have 2 machine guns, and the Cobra firing some rockets to soften up this blob. But yeah, even then, this Neff seems to be doing pretty well here. The Buk is firing its final missile at the Phantom, does not
3
hit.
misses in a
Very
row.
good one.
That's quite unfortunate. Phantom out of ammo. The Osa got killed off on the ground earlier, so it can't help out in these fights here. MiG-23 AT coming around trying to deal with Cobra. The M1IP leader is routed, so it can't help with fire support here. So Neff's infantry can push up, only the Bradley against it. Cobra goes down now. And yeah, the Buk not having any reloads is a big issue right now, as we have an Eagle in the sky. Eagle takes out the MiG-23. Luckily for the MiG-21, it can't turn around quick enough, but the MiG-21 not even going home. And the F-15 firing 2 missiles there once more. Another one coming in. MiG-21 lucky so far. Needs to be really careful though. Needs to get out as soon as possible here.
Flak tank doesn't have enough range to start firing at the Eagle, only 2,300 meter range. And so Eagle can fly safely above it. But
Yeah.
another Buk gets bought, missing the first one. But so when it comes to radar AA, there is accuracy scaling, which means that the closer you are to the enemy AA piece, the more accurate its shots are. So even with the 40, dodging three of the 4 missiles so far with the Eagle does have 40% ECM, which is very good. It's the second best you can get in the game, best you can get in a fighter. And the final missile hitting MiX-90, forgetting about the Eagle there, letting it get hit by the Buk. That does happen to the best of us and the worst of us also. Everybody forgets about their planes every once in a while. I do that all the time, so I am nobody to call. I can't really criticize. Oh, well, I can, but I shouldn't.
MiG-23 MF-AT trying to come in here, trying to hit the M1IP. And yeah, we see Stingers hitting back up north. Phantom coming around here on the other side. M1IP on the ground. And get some decent hits as well. Stingers getting finished off here. Whilst we have M109s here in the rear. Starting to open up fire against the Fagot ATGM up on the front. So there is some killing power here now with indirect fire from MiX-90 as well. There's no artillery on the other side yet. Still only planes for Neff. Neff is on the plane train. And Buk on the front line finally gets reloaded. is currently reloading its missiles, so the Phantoms will have to be careful here, but the MiG-27 hunted by both of them right now. Book still reloading, just barely not reloaded there. The second one too far away, and the Phantoms, one of them gets damaged, but the Book's not able to find the kills here once more. Another missile going out. Finds the hit, but no kill. Not having any of the cheap fighters of KDA around here right now to finish the job is a bit of a mistake. And yeah, both Phantoms will get out alive once more. The infantry push of Neff in the north is working out okay, but it's not really generating that much value here. And it's still a draw situation here, thanks to the capture of the center point by Mix90.
Yeah, currently nothing that can challenge the IP Abrams. Abrams, despite being heavily armored, do actually have very good, maybe the best HE damage output, considering they have 2 medium machine guns and a 50 caliber machine gun, as well as pretty fast firing 105mm tank gun. So the Abrams is able to do enough damage even to the larger squads. But I do think the Phantoms are going the way of the dodo here. No way you can hold out and play a strong air game with 2 books on this height of a map. I think I think Mix90 needs to transform away from the transition away from the air game. I was thinking about the Bradleys you mentioned earlier, that I personally would play this by having a lot of NG Bradleys, do a lot of fire support, and engage these Reservisten and Zakadotria from a longer range. But I think Neff actually has prepared for this. Neff has a large amount of Fagot ATGMs, which are good against the Bradleys. So I think the reason the Bradleys are being brought out here later, and the reason why there are no NG Bradleys.
Oh my goodness, the MiG-21 spam is real. 3 of them coming in, annihilating this building block here. And Mix90 is in trouble here. Like, you say he has to give up the airplay, but he still needs something to deal with these aircraft. M1 IP there getting routed once more by a MiG-27. The MiG-21's coming in just with strafing here, killing off the ITO like that. So, yeah, the fighters can't really follow over the books. So something needs to come in on the ground. There's not enough stingers, there's no chaparrals, and that MiG-21 train, that's so scary that KDA can get that out so quickly, and you need to find a solution against this.
Yeah, we're seeing both the MiG-27 AT plane currently up in the air, as well as the older MiG-23 MF AT plane. So the very cheap, very affordable, low accuracy AT planes. All of those exist out there because there are no weapons for the KDA that can reliably take out the Abrams unless you're using airplanes. And as long as the Abrams count can be kept down, the KDA should be able to fight. No book hitting again against the Eagle. I think this might be the
MiG-21, MiG-21, can it find the run? Get some gunshots out. Can it find the kill there? No, it can't.
No.
That would have been big. Trying its best there, but the Eagle just fast enough there, getting out. ATGMs flying in here with the Fagots. Bradley getting stunned. Fagot being punished, being killed off.
Yeah, as long as the Abrams can engage the Fagots, the Bradley should be safe here. But the massed amount, the Fagots are so cheap for the only 50 points, and with 17 penetration, they can do very good damage against the Bradleys. I believe they can 2-shot them, right? So the Bradleys need to be positioned carefully, but as long as Mix90 doesn't lose them, those Bradleys will be a core of the defense. Bradleys are too cheap to really valuably target with the aircraft, and they're too powerful to not really leave be. You know, the tow missiles and the autocannons do such amazing work. But the MiG-21 is actually doing good work against the Bradleys with the rockets. So that might be the solution.
We find a lot of ATGMs here. We have a couple of 50 cults now pushing forward in the middle, using their long range against infantry that potentially can't fire back. One of them getting a bit too close though, getting punished for it quite quickly. The south, no action there. And yeah, the chaparral number on the battlefield needs to get higher so that you can actually punish the MiG-21s for loitering around, for coming a bit too close to your ground units. But one of the chaparrals already targeted. Oh, with the units of Neff losing line of sight there. Shutting down the Chaparral play here and gaining more time for all of this shenanigans here would be really big for Neff. Yes, the trades currently are pretty solid thanks to the airplanes annoying the vehicles and then the infantry just being more numerous, being more cost efficient than the enemy. But if the Chaparral number can push back the MiG-21s and MiG-23s, that whole situation might change. Another MiG-21 HE bomber here coming in for a fire team, getting the kill there, and will get out alive, but both planes now being damaged, so their return time will be a bit longer than usual.
Yeah, the Gnef has sent 2 KDA Schützen to assault the middle position. There was only a single fire team, and even though the fire team and the fire team managed to do really good work, and the sniper, obviously, target-rich environment, American sniper teams that get 2 sniper rifles, so they are likely going to be they get one of the KDA Schützen. But with the MiG-21 air support, the fire team was killed, and no reinforcements are coming to the middle here. No units available to reinforce the middle, whereas Gnef, actually no, Gnef is not going to the middle either. I thought those units would be routed there. But yeah, Gnef's front line up north was destroyed with this Abrams concave, supported with the fire team dragons. The fire team dragons on long range do pretty good damage for their 6-man squad numbers, because they have two light support weapons. As all American fire teams, even the NG fire teams, have 2 machine guns, which just gives them just a little bit extra fire superiority. I believe the damage of a single light machine gun is kind of equivalent to having 3 riflemen. So these fire team dragons punching a bit above their weight.
Yeah, fire team dragons pushing forward, and yeah, the M1A1s surviving in the lottery of MiG-23's 80 missiles, which have really, really low accuracy in the 30s, even the veterancy, and they don't get any hits this time around here. So the M1A1's still alive. A good couple of them damaged by some bombing runs previously, but by now recovered and pushing forward, and the engineers come in with them. The KDA Schützen routed into the center now, as Neff realizes how low the protection is there, but his northern situation is not amazing either, and one of the KDA going down in transport, and that's a lot of hit points there just lost like that you kind of need to sponge up the damage here. Damage sponges coming around. Chaparral most likely gonna make it out of here, but new KDA Schützen arrive on the front line. SPW will capture the center, but the north is collapsing at the same time here, so the points won't change much in the end on either side.
Yeah, the fagots need to be positioned in a way that will prevent the Abrams from just driving through. But if if MiG-90 is able to engage all of the fagots on their own without the aircraft managing to kill the Abrams, then the Abrams will likely beat this. The fagots alone are not good enough. They can't penetrate the Abrams's armor. They can only drive them off and spot them for the aircraft that can actually do the killing.
Yeah. F-15 goes down to the Books, gets a kill on 2 a MiG-21 and a MiG-23 though, so it's an okay trade here for MiG-90. Another Phantom coming in. That one gets killed off without getting a kill. MiG-23 getting hit by the Chaparral though, so the Chaparral can take revenge as well before the Apache does fall. MiG-21 coming in for the AAPs though, will find the kill there as well, and the MiG-21 rocket might be able to kill off the Apache, so yeah. It's still a back and forth here, and as you said, the M1A1s are a problem. T-62s can be annoying against them on the long range. In the short range, they don't really stand a chance, so you need some side shots, you need some planes there, or potentially artillery to deal with them, as the direct fight is just not the solution for KDA against those heavier targets.
Yeah, the T-62 M1s, the heaviest tanks available for the KDA, have been brought up here, but the Bradley immediately putting it in sights, TOW-2 missile, turning this T-62 into a overpriced tin can if it manages to hit. And even though it has the same penetration as the Abrams' gun, it has lower rate of fire, and it's just significantly worse in every other respect except the penetration.
Yeah, cluster bomber and HE bomber coming in, and one M1IP going down, but a Book dying as well here. And at the same time, the planes now getting reduced in numbers as well. The MiG-21 BIS not being able to deal with the Chaparral. The Chaparral shield by now good enough here for MiX-90 in the north. MiX-90 pushing forward slowly. And situation here is not developing nicely for the Air Force of MiX-90, as
Oh no.
those Chaparrals really started to tax him. He let Neff MiX-90's air defense too good there, and yeah, the KDA getting taxed quite nicely. Book's going down is obviously pretty frustrating as well. Bradley just pushing through there. There's not much left there for the KDA. Strike Eagles now can come around as one of the Books went down and start to dismantle the last strong defensive units. Bradley getting killed off by the MiG-21 rockets, but the MiG-21 takes the wrong turn. Miss micro once more there by Neff. Another plane bites the dust, and Strike Eagles here now finishing the job, getting rid of the KDAs. Will get out, will come back in and do it again. And that's a nearly nothing here left on the battlefield for Neff right now.
Yeah, it was the mechanized forces up north were just too powerful. The plane spam was very threatening, and especially at the time when whole of the airspace was controlled by MiG-21s and MiG-23s, and the core of MiX-90's forces, the Abrams, were just never beaten. The Abrams managed to go back, the Abrams were deployed smartly, the Abrams were repaired if necessary, and replaced, considering that you do get a lot of them in this division, 24th. And you cannot really, realistically, you can't attack positions that are defended by tanks that are heavier than yours. That is one of the most difficult things to do in the game. You need specialized units such as very heavy artillery, cluster artillery. You need airplanes, stuff like that, to actually start charging positions with the IP Abrams there. You just cannot keep sending KDA guys and hoping something will happen. So now is once again the time for big plays, big trades, and possibly overextension from MiX-90's side. Otherwise, these American true forces are just more capable and better.
Yeah, we see a nice push here from Neff in the south, but units of MiX-90 just rolling through towards there as well. And M1IP coming in already. There's only one T-54 on the other side. Planes could help out there. There's not a big AA network there. MiG-21 HE not finding the kill though. Once more, one taking the wrong turn there. Most likely gonna go down. Lucky this time around. It's the SPW just drives through, but M1IP once more dealing good damage. Bomber is not getting the kill there, and one of them still finding some bomb drops here. That was a weird pattern.
Yeah.
MiG-23 MF trying to shoot its ATGMs. Second ATGM flies into the middle of nowhere, and yeah, these cheap 35% accuracy not working out. Osa plus Book getting some damage against the F-15. Can it find the kill there? No, it can't. And another plane bites the dust there for Neff. +2 for MiX-90 as life. And this situation here is deteriorating quickly. The couple of units pushing through get hunted down. SPW trying to run, but the M1IP is going to come in from the other side here in a second and most likely going to catch it. There we go. Misses the first shot. Gets some 50 cal ammo down. Can it get another shot out? No, it can't. So the SPW is able to run away from now, but there's nothing stopping MiX-90 from just rolling through Lima into Oscar. And Seat finding the Book now in the north as well. So Book number 2 going down here too, after an OSA died early on as well. So the EA network of Neff in shambles as well, and that leaves KDA with not much left on the battlefield here.
Yeah, KDA doing the KDA spam and sending in troops against troops against troops and having the air counter and the spam tactics learned. But so when you're playing KDA, there is skill involved. It's not all just spam. You need to know what to spam and when. If you spam the wrong units at the wrong time, you can just lose a lot of stuff and lose the game immediately. In this case, I think a weaker player could have probably been crushed, especially by the time the KDA started having air supremacy. But Mix 90 managed to just control better, just keep on having good engagements, and keep on buying the chaparrals. The chaparrals are not radar AA, which means that seed planes can't target them. I don't even know if KDA has any seed planes, but anyways, when you have like 3 of them, and they are reasonably mobile as well, very difficult to start killing them with artillery or airplanes. So the chaparrals really are just there to stay. The chaparrals also have 12 ammunition and salvo of 4,
Well,
which
there
means
is
that they don't
some
need to be
good
repaired.
stuff that KDA can do against them, though. And that is called the napalm launcher, as somebody pointed out. But yeah, no artillery, it means that you don't deal with the AA at all. And then if you continue flying at the same spot and don't switch it up, which could have been done by NF, then your planes just get riddled away, and you need those planes. And yeah, losing all the planes is losing the game in this case, and that's what happened here to NEF. There is a way of playing KDA more artillery focused, but that's not the way NEF decided to go here. And if you want to go the plane spam way, you have to protect it better, and that's not what happened. M1 IPs survived the missile roulette, though well played there by Mix90 as well. And Mix90 securing himself the 3rd spot here in League Season 1 will get up here in the prize pool on as well, getting the 3rd place here. $53.40 as of now for him, and $35.60 for Neff. So, yeah, thanks for all the guys helping out here, getting us there with free contributions and all of that. And yeah, thanks to Mix90 and Neff for all the amazing games that they played this season. Really entertaining one here once more. I left the KDA, and yeah, Mix90 playing a really clean game here with the 24th.
Yeah, looking at the kill feed again, you can see the IP Abrams and the amount of the damage they did. And I would like to go back to the golden rule of WARNO: take the engagements that you want to take. Don't take the engagements that your enemy wants you to take. So buying, if I had been playing that game for Mix 90's side, I would have probably invested heavily into Bradleys, which could have been countered by the wide fronts of Fagot ATGMs. But Mix90 was careful. Mix90 waited for the Fagots to reveal themselves and then engaged them with the Bradleys, which are basically invulnerable against them. And that way, no matter how many Fagots got bought, there were always going to be an artillery salvo or an Abrams that could take them out. And if the main weapon of the main AT weapon is taken out, your mech blob can, or actually not a mech blob, but mech force can build up to a point when KDA can't really do anything about it, not even with the massed airplanes. So congratulations for Mix90. For all the viewers who think that KDA lost because KDA bad, that is not the case. I would have probably been owned here pretty fast, but and please, and also I do respect Gnef's earlier game, the TKS opener, and frankly, the TKS opener could have worked better against 35th. If the AM extents had been controlled better. So neither of these games, even despite Mix90 winning them, were open and shut cases. Absolutely not.
Yeah, really fantastic games here. Once more showing the high skill on Division 1. It's going to be interesting to see how Division 1 will look next season. For everybody who has missed it last time and who is in the waiting position for the next season, we have the schedule right here. We'll have the 2v2 tournament, the Swiss tournament, on the 31st of August. You can sign up for that already. Then we will have another super tourney right before the league, as per usual, with a 2-day tourney to get everybody hot up for league again, hot up for competitive tournament, see where everybody is at, how everybody is warmed up. And then League Season 2 will start at the 16th of September. So a good bit of time there till then to chill out, get a bit of rest, and then come back into the action here with that. And yeah, we're gonna aim for 80 players this time around. 64 is the minimum goal, just like this season. But if we can get 80 people sign up or 80 plus people sign up, then we're gonna open up the format a bit, though the 4 divisions will stay. It just would make every group 5 players instead of 4 players, so that you have a bit fewer tiebreakers to do at the end, which was what derailed this season a bit when it came to the schedule. So yeah, with that said, guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna end it here for today. Are you gonna go on streaming in your channel, Chloride, or what is your plan there?
No, I'm actually going outside. It is getting a bit too hot, and I've been talking a lot today, considering we for 9 hours, a lot of talking. So unfortunately, I don't have the energy to stream today, but the streams will return in soon, in near future.
So yeah, then we will find a different channel here, guys, to go over to. I think we can rate Mr. Same category. Yeah, Bad Reki. We have rated him in the past time. Lovely little chap, playing some WARNO as well. Say hello there. Tarkov guy outside of the WARNO action, with a lot of hot action going on in the background there as well. So yeah, have some fun over there, guys, and see you all next time. Bye bye, and have a great